I like the way it looks, and I like the I like heavily rendered stuff. But man, drawings take me so much longer than they need to because of all the lines I like to put them out. I just turned in a cover today that I just swear I built that whole thing with lines.
I'm watching Ryan Stegman do his live stream. Well, I do my live stream, which you'd say, "Jeez, Austin, why are you live streaming while he's live streaming?" That's a terrible idea. Twitch, I would respond. Yeah. I agree. That's a terrible idea. My life is basically comprised of terrible ideas. But it's got me this far, so it's pretty good.
I'm also very
pretty good.
He'll be thrilled that he got a shout out on this live stream. So I have a group of friends that
A little bit chilly today.
we like to
A little bit of snow in the air.
talk on Skype all day while we're all trying to do the same job, and drawing is one of the as you can see, I'm talking to
LC Smith, I've never seen you in my chat. Thanks for the like, buddy. What's your favorite character, LC Smith? What's for dinner? Those are my two favorite questions. Okay. I want to know that from everyone in the chat. What's your favorite? What's your favorite character? What's for dinner? Those are the most important questions right now.
I've met Greg, super nice guy. And Frankie.
No, don't send it in Messenger. Dang it. Share the group.
House of M with Frankie Armato. Thought it was going to be all day. And was thinking about how good the color is.
And I got to tag Jonathan and the rest of the guys. I got people who ask for tags. Oh, there's Cliff, who was just tagging you. I think that's... I think I'm even forgetting somebody. I think someone else asked for tags too, but... I guess I'll have to keep like a copy-paste list eventually. Oh, he disconnected. Maybe I disconnected. Am I still there? Gee whiz, I hope I'm still... Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm almost here now. Maybe it's because I'm doing my live stream now. It's disconnected. That would make sense. Oh, his is back. What does the future hold? Well, I was watching the stream. Can you believe that Comic Kingdom, or what was it, that some Canadian shop did that Venom 7 homage, and they didn't come to me to do the art? Come on, I'm the knockoff Crane, if anybody. Can't let some other Joker move in on that. That's all I got. Sorry guys, I didn't pick something to watch beforehand, so I'm going to try to do that real quick here. Sure, let's just watch History Act. That's a good show. I got bad hearing, guys. Yeah, then I gotta bring up a couple references here, so we're gonna have, I don't need any of these references anymore, basically. I'm good. And I just need my,
What's up, everybody? Welcome to yet another episode of the History Hike
That's the one I like. 316. It's going to be a little bit of an homage to Spiderman 316. So we're going to have one here.
And James Mad Dog Blue Gun is on a flight to Vegas to visit his two fucking mom's grave. And Bardo Church isn't here because he's been gone for 6 months. Yeah, Bardo Church is a... And also George W. Bush is dead as well. What are you bringing up Mike Suarez for? Yeah, nobody was wondering where Mike Suarez was. Make no mistake, Bardo Church, a.k.a. the White Walk, sent us an email saying that he was choosing to part ways with his company, but make no mistake, he was fired because he's a useless eater. You know what? When you're with headphones, you can't hear the way I can hear him. I can hear him. Yeah, because with a dude like this,
Maria.
yeah, there he is. Yeah, I'm just gonna put them on and play by the rules. Play by the rules. And I just gotta take a picture because from my point of view, you have to see how fucking full Franks and Beans Giannis looks right now. I mean, he's just a Franks. Look at how Franks and Beans you look. To me, that just looks like a cute kid from New York City who can't let it go that the Giants are not gonna make the playoffs. Yeah, I was gonna say, he's wearing a Giants hat from Modell. I went live from Facebook earlier, and there was somebody from New York. I can't remember who. Somebody that is the Giants fan who was angry. And I understand anger because there's a lot of useless eaters on this planet. It's what it is. I mean, look, we have opened up our Patreon, patreon.com/BayRidgeBoys. Go be a part of the patriarchy. We have opened it up to the people, and make no mistake, there are some fucking nuts out there, and they are our fans, and we are happy that you are on our side, fighting with the good guys. It warms my heart every time I check the Patreon and see the members of all races, creeds, religions, sexuality, sexes. We got a high percentage of pieces. We got a part of our matrix. Yeah, because make no mistake, Jihadi with a body is an in-shape Jihadi with a physique. Yeah, and I'm a Greek with a physique. You're a Greek with a physique. I'm Greek with a physique. Is that a rhyme or is that no? Yeah, more of an Eminem trying to make it rhyme. You're a physique Greek. I don't know. Sometimes I listen to Eminem songs. I'm like, those two words rhyme. By the way, Jihadi, play your song for physique well bars. Yeah, you have a lot of the patriarchy, the two patriarchy. The two patriarchy. We're gonna play Jihadi's song right now. Make no mistake. I'm gonna get it to spice it down. He's gonna put it on. Next time. Is this it? Is this your song? That's it.
Oh, that's a pity. You know, we got to do the swirls over everybody's face in this picture, so it's gonna be a real pity. But,
You don't know what's good or what's bad. People know it's you, and I don't care.
I already heard this crap.
We embrace it, and we have fun with it. By the way, I would like a few more Chinese members. If you don't have any Chinese members, well, maybe could come. It also just could be because we're working on this video. They're busy just getting accepted in schools. Yeah, they're just getting ahead of the rest of the world. They are like making up 100% of all elite school admissions. Yeah, they're crushing the admission process. It's becoming like a controversy because now I think even the blogs are trying to change it. They keep trying to stop it because Asians are just smarter. They're just, you can say what you want, they're just smarter. Whether it's because of their culture, whatever it is, probably so. They're just better than we are and smarter. I look better at married an Asian. Anytime I see a picture of my sister with an Asian kid, and you gotta admit, anytime you mix Indian with Asian, it ends up looking beautiful. Oh my God, I saw the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in Houston. She was halfway half Asian, and her husband was
Zach says hello. Christopher says what up? What up, guys? Have I asked you who your favorite characters are? Remind me again. I don't think I would be able to guess. Damn, I might end up fitting more characters in here. I'm gonna fit as many characters as I can in here. So. Venom. Okay, nice. Well, you're gonna like this. This is gonna be Venom right here. Problem is, though, they're all gonna have those spiral eyes. So maybe I'll try to incorporate that in a cooler way. Ghost Rider. Yep. And yup, Venom. Mostly symbiotes, no favorite. Yeah. No worries, Martin. Ghost Rider. Dude, I love Ghost Rider, Wolverine, Venom. Those are three of my favorites right there. Archangel, Apocalypse, yep. These are all some of Clayton's greatest hits too that you mentioned.
parts. What is CWF? I don't know if I could have come up with a better description of how they sound. Who created Chrissy Wild Parts? Do we know? Some kid name? Some kid name. We gotta shout him out. No, we'll find out. We'll find it out. Yeah, but it sounds like they're looking down the well and you hear someone bark from the bottom. It's just what it is. You know what we should do now, Zach, real quick? What should we do? Let's make a call. Do we have to call down? Do we call them every episode? What do we do? Once a month.
Mr. Sinister. What's his power set? I know that he is obsessed with Jean Grey and Cyclops, but I have no idea what his abilities are.
We can call it the restraining order because Chris, the teacher, just came up to me when I was sitting down with Mad Dog last week. He was at something show, and I talked to him. Nothing. See, I would have walked away. I think I was saying Chris, the teacher, was just sitting there sniffing your seat. Yeah, so you got your call for this month. Zach, didn't your friends listen to the podcast? Yeah, I think I told you guys. I was at my studio that I run, and some girl just actually shot out just randomly. Like, I had nothing to do with it. She just brought up history Hyena. And I mentioned the fact, I was like, oh, you know the kid on the Zach? That's me. And she freaked the fuck out. Wow. Really cool. Yeah, like, I didn't think that this is Hyena on the game. Yeah, and guys, I don't know if you guys saw on our Instagram, well, it's going to be last week, but we put them up today, but, you know, we got to pay for a hurt. I did a video with it, and Giannis posted a picture of him with it on. So the next thing is to have a bird come on with the toupee. Can't wait to see what they're doing. We should probably get two more. Have a toupee. Want to get a couple more? We get a couple more so we try which one looks best. All right, who we calling now? I don't think we called Dr. Harvey Spencer Jr. Oh, yeah, this is he's a dentist. Yeah. Well, Dr. Harvey.
What is this obsession with CGC? Not fully in on it.
He told me I should call you that you was a good dentist and I was supposed to tell me so you can help me please with my teeth because right now I don't have any fucking teeth. And I'm trying because Dr. Harvey Spencer will leave you a voicemail. We'll call you back.
Dude, why don't they bring back Hybrid and all that shit? They need to bring back Hybrid. Every symbiote they need to bring back in this storyline. I'll be so fucking pissed.
Absolutely. Just what it is, Dr. Harvey Spencer Jr. Call you back. All right, let's call it in. Who else can we call? Let's make some calls. Not calling Chris the teacher again. I won't do it. There's got to be somebody else. You want to call John Sedino at $500 Tito? Yeah. Let's call him. Number. Yeah. Well, we don't have his number? No, we got other 25. He's giving us $500 a month. Number. We got to get his number. Let's call that first cat. That we missed. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what I want to draw here. Let's start at the top. Let's start and then work our way down because we're kind of at the middle point right now.
No girl, $25.
No, we talked about that.
Oh, yes, right. 20 girl piece.
If you're missing, if you have $25, you're missing out on
Just kamikaze for fucking wild. Yeah, and these listeners, this is what we do. And one of us can start recording and the other one does. What's the first Yeah, he was the first kid we called, and he wasn't around.
I just need to write my reference for my picture. Okay, this show is annoying. Oof, annoying.
The Seven Princes of Hell is like in 1540 or 1545, depending on their story. As a child, Peter was gifted enough to be sent to Rome. When he returned, he became a prominent figure in many anti-Protestant campaigns. What he was most well known for was the part he played in the witch trials of Trier that took place in 1581 until 1593. Binsfeld wrote an influential piece titled "Of the Confessions of Warlocks and Witches," which contained the alleged confessions of these individuals that had been obtained through torture, and therefore, according to him, should be believed and trusted. This is important because at the time, Peter was considered a rather intelligent man, an expert in religion and its supernatural elements. In 1589, amongst the chaos of these witch trials, he published a list of demons that he believed to be the princes or lords of hell. According to Binsfeld, the seven deadly sins were much more than just deadly vices. He believed each one was in fact a demon. So, who are these demons? The first of these is Lucifer, who represented the sin of pride, the original and most serious of the seven deadly sins. As there is an entire video devoted to Lucifer, I won't go into too much detail here, but in this regard, Binsfeld is referring to Lucifer, the fallen angel. His overwhelming pride led to him believing that he could rule heaven, and so he was cast out and demonized when his rebellion was unsuccessful. The ever-present reminder of the dangers when one allows pride to overcome it. Some consider Lucifer to be the ruler of the seven princes. These accounts often believe Lucifer and Satan are the same individual. Other classifications who don't agree see Satan as the figurehead of hell, an entity separate from Lucifer. They even sometimes replace Lucifer with another fallen angel figure, such as Azazel. The second demon Binsfeld mentions is Mammon, whose name roughly translates to mean money, and I'm sure you guessed he is the embodiment of our next sin, greed. In scripture, Mammon isn't necessarily a physical being, more so a concept surrounding money, wealth, and greed. Over time, this began to change, and it was during the Middle Ages Mammon became more than just a concept. He was personified as the demon of greed in numerous pieces of art and literature, and thus some scholars began to classify him as one of the princes of hell, who would enslave those who were driven by greed and the accumulation of wealth. At times, Mammon can be confused with Beelzebub, and though they both can be seen as demons of greed, greed and gluttony aren't necessarily the same thing. The third prince of hell is Asmodeus, who represented the sin of lust. Most of what we know about Asmodeus comes from the book of Tobit, as well as some other Talmudic sources, such as the construction of the Temple of Solomon. Many saw his role as
So is this my Xmas gift?
Roman people
Oh my god, this would be an expensive ass. Expensive ass book. You can almost see it coming together now. It'll be cool to see like this weird sketch. It's just all these fucking excuse me, nullified, carnagized. In this storyline, Carnage has overcome Null because he's somehow gained the Infinity Gauntlet. He went off page, off script, and he overthrew Null in this hypothetical, and then opened up the multiverse to grab all the greatest symbiotes and use them to kill Spider-Man in this case, or probably just going to take over Spider-Man, honestly. Seeing as that's what he's done with everyone else.
His appearance can vary, but most of the time we see a half-man, half-animal hybrid. The Kabbalah explains this as him being a half-human, half-demon offspring. His mother a succubus, and his father King David. The fourth demon prince, according to Binsfeld, was Leviathan, which represented the sin of envy. This one may seem a little odd, as when most people think of the Leviathan, they think of an enormous sea monster, not exactly something you'd assume to be found. It has dozens of interpretations and meanings across numerous religions, but this association with envy and the princes of hell Binsfeld speaks of is a Christian concept. The Italian philosopher and Catholic Thomas Aquinas describes it as a demon responsible for punishing those guilty of.
I should make Christmas cards though and hand them out like Crane, right? That's a good idea. I think so.
In Anglo-Saxon art, the entrance to hell was seen as the gaping mouth of a monster, known as the Hell Mouth, or the Jaws of Hell. With the Leviathan being seen as all sorts of creatures, from a giant sea serpent to a large whale or even crocodile, it's likely the creature's gaping maw was enough to influence this Anglo-Saxon mentality. The fifth demon prince is Beelzebub, the Lord of Gluttony. Another name you may also see is the Lord of Flies, or the Lord of Flies, which refers to his ability to, well, fly. Beelzebub is a figure who can be traced back through numerous civilizations and religions. In the Testament of Solomon, he is a fallen angel often associated with Lucifer. He doesn't necessarily have a particular domain. He just behaves in the generic demonesque manner, causing men to worship demons and turn on each other, succumb to lust, jealousy, and murder. Just an all-round troublemaker. The Dutch demonologist Johann Veer saw him as the chief lieutenant of Lucifer and integral to a successful revolt against the devil. John Milton also shared this view. In Paradise Lost, Beelzebub is a fallen angel, while Astaroth is second only to Lucifer in terms of hierarchy. Why Binsfeld considers him the Lord of Gluttony is hard to say, as others equate him.
Need to look up their dragons now. What do the normal dragons look like?
Demon Prince number 6 is undoubtedly
Kind of ugly.
well known. Satan.
I'll put my own spin on it. They have like bat ears.
We can assume when he says Satan, he's referring to the Christian
I like their wings though.
in the early modern period, from around the 16th century onwards, just after the Middle East. From around 1480 onwards, the hysteria around the idea of witches began to spiral out of control in some European countries. France and Britain linked Germany were two of the most
I'm getting them horns instead of ears. Little baby ears.
Published in 1487, and this explained that all sorcery was rooted in the work of Satan, and thus we see Satan's association with warlocks and witches. In the Middle Ages,
So when did I decide I wanted to do these in this style? Well, it was a commission. He wanted me to do it in a mosaic style, and we were going to do something else on the back, but I decided to flip it and do the mosaic on this side and do kind of more cover art style on the other side, just because
demon crates.
I thought I had more space back here. It's gonna look really good.
Finsdale saw him as the chief of laziness. Although he does have a point, there is more to his character. You wouldn't be wrong to argue that he is better suited as the prince of manipulation and deceit. Belphegor takes many forms, choosing whichever one he feels will convince his victims into doing his bidding. He convinces, seduces, and manipulates humans into creating ingenious inventions that will make them rich. A whisper or a nudge in a certain direction that leads to amazing discovery. But when these are complete, the wealth and esteem is snatched away by Belphegor. He may not be the most imposing or terrifying demon, but Belphegor is about as cunning and deceitful as they come. There are many different classifications of demons by many different scholars, and we've only just looked at one. If you'd like to do some further reading and see how they differ, then you can simply search the classification of demons and you'll find a host of varying ideas you can examine. As always, I've been your host, Mythology and Fiction Explained.
The hell fucking shit fuck am I watching now? I got a potty mouth, I'm sorry. I'm at the paint pen because these are very cool. I just wondered how you do it without smearing. Well, sir, the key is to smear it. That is the key. So let me very carefully, let's get another bag of board in here so that I can easily flip this, right? And take a peeky-loo at what's going on here. So this is the other side of the book I just finished. And basically, everything you're looking at here is my fingerprints. It's all smudge. So like when you go in and you see these kind of highlights I put over the black, that's all me smudging my finger on everything, you know. So basically all those little paint brush strokes you see there, the blue highlights on his finger, that's all my finger. So you get in there and you smear it with your hands and you smear it around, and then you let it dry, and then you lay paint very, very, very carefully. Very carefully lay paint over it, and then you can get lucky and not let it smear or mix with the other paint. But it takes practice. It definitely takes practice. If you want to do it, just get some practice books before you get crazy with it. That's it, man. It's pretty easy. It's pretty fun. Let me get another bag of board. I want to get another clean one just while I'm switching them up. What does the future hold? Alright. Got always have bags and boards on hand. You know? Always. LOL. Alright. Okay. Okay. Yeah, of course. Any questions you have, just ask. I will let you know. Oh, we got the street sweeper out there, baby. And my YouTube is all messed up. It used to be pretty good. It used to be good. Now it's just so fucked up. Messed up. What's the Japanese conspiracy?
Year 1185 AD. It was a time of bitter struggle, an era of dark and violent war between two clans. Minamoto, the rebels, fought against Taira, who controlled the emperor. From land, they brought this conflict to the waves of the ocean in the form of Buddha. Both sides knew that the outcome of this battle would dramatically shift the course of Japanese history forever. The sun rose from the east. Though the Taira were far outnumbered, they were clever and knew these seas well. They used the morning riptide to surround the Minamoto fleet with their ships, gaining the upper hand. However, their enemy was tough and lasted longer than expected. As the afternoon came, the tides turned, and the Taira found themselves in trouble. As their ships lost control and drifted apart, a traitorous Taira general defected to a Minamoto ship. It was there that he revealed the ship that housed the 6-year-old emperor Antoku. Led by Commander Yoshitsune, the Minamoto clan diverted all of their fleet's archers and manpower towards the emperor's ship. The Taira were doomed. Rather than allow the emperor to be captured by the Minamoto, the child's grandmother, Tokiko, grabbed Antoku and threw him into the dark waters, drowning him. She then commanded any Taira still alive to rid the ship of the imperial regalia stored in the cabin below. These were 3 sacred treasures: the sword Kusanagi no Tsurugi, the mirror Yata no Kagami, and the jewel Yasakani no Magatama. The Taira managed to throw the sword and the jewel overboard, but the ship was quickly captured. The Minamoto seized the mirror, which blinded the soldier who pried open his box. Minamoto divers soon recovered the jewel as well. However, the sword was lost. So it's strange that, for centuries and even to this day, the Japanese imperial family claims to possess all 3 sacred treasures, including the sword Kusanagi, despite there being no outside confirmation, photographs, or even official drawings of any of them. These legendary items have not been seen for over 800 years, yet their existence continues to be asserted, as does their importance. At the end of World War II, when Emperor Hirohito surrendered his monarchy to the Allied powers, he ordered the Lord Keeper of the Privy Seal of Japan to protect the imperial regalia at all costs. And as recent as 2019, the 3 sacred treasures were formally bestowed to the new Emperor Naruhito.
Sorry, I guess I never really answered your question, did I?
You, the truth,
Zachariah. Your question was, when did I decide to start doing them in the style? When Clayton showed me how.
Every sub is an incredible support for my channel. Without further ado, let's seriously question the 3 objects that legitimize the Japanese imperial family and attempt to understand why even the current emperor has left their boxes unopened. We'll begin by taking a close look at the three sacred treasures themselves. What do they look like? And what is their recorded status as of today? The sacred jewel, known as Yasukani no Magatama, is a curved, comma-shaped bead made to be worn on a necklace. This type of Japanese jewelry is far older than you may imagine. These beads, known collectively as Magatama, originate as far back as 1000 BCE.
Yeah, when Clayton showed me how to use the pens, I was all in. I was practicing as soon as I got a chance. What's up, Jonathan?
As a type of currency.
How you doing, buddy?
And like many others, the Yasukani is made of green jade. This
You liking it so far?
is symbolic of
Let's kind of go over what I've done. You're gonna have Dark Carnage up there, kind of overseeing the affair. He's got a dragon here, dragon there. I'm drawing hybrid right now, kind of just laying down the shapes and spacing between all the people. So down here is going to be Spider-Man. There's his little head. Oh no, black suit Spider-Man. That one's going to be Venom, Anti-Venom, Toxin. And then I realized they have to have spirals, so I shouldn't even waste time trying to space out their eyes. Miles in his doppelganger form. Gwenom possessed by Carnage, and then the one in the middle right there is going to be Sleeper. I'm going to make him a little bit bigger, and then behind him is Captain America. He's going to be the only one in that kind of flat stance. Captain America is going to have a real spooky attitude about the whole affair. And then in all the rest of the blank space, we're going to have oh no way, Christopher Stromlin just showed me his Darth Grinch. Oh, it looks great.
If so, why does the mirror show up in the Battle of Dan Maruta, which occurred in 1185? Was it a replica?
I love it.
Thought to be located in the Ise Grand Shrine.
Oh, you're in here. Yeah. No, that's hilarious. I was just laughing at that.
The sacred sword.
That looks really good too. Looks movie quality almost. You just got to get someone to do your makeup, man. Hire a Hollywood person to come in and do your makeup. And then behind Spider-Gwen, we're gonna have Gwenom, whatever her name is. We're gonna have Scream. You know, hybrids right there. Then behind Captain America, we're gonna have Iron Man here, Hulk here, Thor here, and then maybe Silver Surfer kind of right here in this empty space, make them real small. And if there's room for more, then put some more dragons or some more characters or something like that.
Curiosity must have gotten the better of him, because he pried open the inner stone box to find a hollowed log of a camphor tree. His interior lined with gold, and it was the sword, approximately 82 centimeters long and fashioned from some white-colored metal. Its blade resembled a calamus leaf, with the middle spike like the spine of a fish. After this momentary observation, the priest was caught and immediately banished from the shrine. Not long after reporting his experience, he became terminally ill. Today, the sword is said to be kept at the Atsuta Shrine in Nagoya. If the sword does exist, it's unlikely that anyone alive has seen it. Like the other two treasures, only the Emperor is permitted access to it, and no Emperor since the death of Ontoku has admitted to seeing it. Only the wooden box in which it is stored. So we have an idea of what these sacred treasures are, what they represent, and where they may be located today. But to understand their true meaning and perhaps solve this mystery, we must take a look at the legendary origins of the imperial regalia, where they came from, and why they are held with such
Where did you
reverence.
come from? Where'd you go?
According to ancient Japanese legend, the sun goddess Amaterasu had a fight with her brother Susanoo, the god of the sea. In tears, she retreated to a cave, taking the sunlight with her and casting the universe into darkness. Feeling responsible, Susanoo devised a plan to lure out his sister from the cave. He hung both the sacred jewel and sacred mirror on a 500-branch sakaki tree. The jewel caught Amateratsu's attention, and when she saw the mirror next to it, she became startled by her own reflection and distracted enough that the gods could pull her out. As a token of apology, Susanoo offered her the sword Kusanagi, which he found hidden in the severed fourth tail of the great eight-headed serpent Orochi. Amaterasu accepted Susanoo's apology, bringing light back to the universe. It was centuries, perhaps millenniums later, that the goddess Amaterasu gifted her grandson Ninigi no Makoto those three sacred treasures and sent him to Earth to pacify Japan. Ninigi became the legendary ancestor of the Japanese imperial line, and from that point forward, the imperial regalia signified the emperor's divinity as a descendant of Amaterasu, thus confirming his legitimacy as paramount ruler of Japan. This notion is
When I was in the
particularly
army, there was a
apparent
kid
in how much
who
emphasis
always
is
talked about his
placed
brother
on
helping
the
him
free
finish a
imperial
combat
regalia
job.
when an emperor abdicates or
What a lame
assumes
story.
the throne. These objects are
I'm
what
sure you say it
physically
all the
connect
time.
the current emperor to a divine lineage.
No, it's cool when
More
you
so,
get to hear stories
they are
like
a
that, but
symbol that the ancient traditions of the
if you talked
Japanese
about it all the time, then that's lame.
so you can see why this would be a powerful motivator to reconstruct these objects if they were ever lost, or purport their existence even if they never existed in the first place. Still, it's hard to say for certain that this is the case. Just because we haven't seen them in centuries, they could all very well exist today. Perhaps even the originals, if you believe
Looked at
the
the local
imperial
GameStop.
family and the Shinto priests that
Oh.
safeguard the treasure.
Oh, I see.
It may be more likely, though, that both the mirror and the sword were replaced by replicas long before our modern era. The three sacred treasures of Japan fall into a special category of mythical objects, as they are documented by reliable sources and their exact locations are assumed to be known. We just aren't allowed to see them. As to their current status, I related to 19th century
I hated that
physicist
song.
Schrodinger's thought experiment that questions the reality of something that cannot
Yeah,
be observed.
That song's not the best song.
Probably
It's
already
entertaining
knows
when you're a kid, but
If
it's
not,
kind of
I'll
annoying.
give a quick summary. A hypothetical cat is placed into a sealed steel chamber where there is an equal chance that a poison may or may not be released. As we cannot observe the status of the cat, nor the status of the poison, the cat is thrust into a state of superposition where it may be considered both alive and dead at the same time.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever
Only
heard.
once the chamber is opened
It's not
does
at all how that
reality
works.
collapse into one possibility. The cat is either dead or alive. So, does the imperial regalia actually exist? The answer is yes.
I despise
no.
that metaphor.
Does it matter?
That
I don't think so.
I don't even know what the
Just
fuck you
as
call
it
that
is
shit.
impossible to prove or disprove the existence of God or any number of gods, sometimes faith is a more powerful motivator than knowing the reality. If something is real and in front of you, there are grounds for scrutiny, but you can't form a compelling argument against the sanctity and holiness of something that can't be observed. Thus, whether they exist or not, there is no reason for the three treasures to ever be revealed. Thank you so much for watching. If you were intrigued by these famed Japanese treasures that may or may not remain suspended in a state of quantum superposition, give this video a like and subscribe to my channel. There's so many more mythical mysteries to come.
Quantum superposition.
As always,
What
friends,
kind of autistic
stay
nonsense
tuned
is that?
for the next episode of Truth.
That's some shit that nerds tell each other to blow each other's minds.
Kayama Eizaion stood waiting at the mouth of Edo Bay. Sweat dripped down his brow as he peered into the distance at the anchored ships, belching dark smoke into the air like so many floating volcanoes. This was not how it was supposed to happen. Barbarian ships were supposed to go to Nagasaki. Like always, they had to. 6 days earlier, as the alien black hulls had steamed into view, his masters had scrambled to do anything they could to avoid this moment. He had been the
And I give
second imposter
Scream a
sent
lot
out to
of hair.
convince them to
Lots of
leave, ordered by his overlords to pretend that he himself was the governor of Uraga.
I do have to wrap up this stream though. I could draw for probably a long time right now. I'm really feeling it. But I gotta go take a walk with my wife. I gotta walk my wife.
And sent him back with nothing.
Y'all know how that
Threats of
is.
force,
You gotta walk your wife once in a while.
white flags. The ships,
I think this Scream is gonna really pop. This is the first Scream I've ever drawn.
and here,
I
everyone
don't really get a lot
was.
of chance to draw a lot of ladies.
Thousands
You
of
know.
samurai lined Kurihama Beach, and behind them, holidaying spectators munching on snacks
Most
and
people ask
gossiping,
for, you
waiting
know,
for
favorite
whatever was about to happen.
male
For Kayama,
character.
the personal and public
Most of the
affairs
guys
were
I
almost intolerable,
do commissions for a
and the
male. I
tension
wonder if
close to overwhelming.
there's a bit of an
And in
overlap
that,
there.
he was not alone. It was July 14th, 1853, and the anxious and curious multitudes had assembled for one of the most unique
Happy wife,
events
happy life.
in
Correct,
Japanese
Mundo.
history.
You are
Four
correct, sir.
gigantic, dark American vessels, anchored just a stone's throw away, had cleared their decks and run out their guns. Their test firings had boomed provocatively around the bay. The message for Kayama had been clear. If the Americans were attacked, Japan's capital city, Edo, would be destroyed entirely,
That didn't work.
and the Japanese were to use the white flags to surrender once the
Just kinda
power
wanna
of the foreign guns was finally
Erase
understood.
it and just see what it
Commodore
look like with a
Matthew
big spiral.
Calgrave Perry of the U.S.
Spiral.
Navy.
The spiral's growing on
The
me.
1812
I was never a big fan of the spiral, but now that I'm doing a piece with a bunch of these spirals,
remaining
I'm
aloof
gonna let it grow
in
on me.
cabin. Until now. Shots of salute rang
You know,
out around the
Spider-Man's
bay
head
as
should be bigger than that.
boats carrying 400 heavily
Him just
armed
rough
men
as
put
fuck
out
with his
from
pens,
enemy
dude.
ships.
Absolutely rough.
Swiftly
Clayton is
ashore.
super gentle on his pens. Maybe I should take a note out of his book.
The first men to alight.
But I mean, I think I've been figuring it out. You know, maybe I got a little something to teach him. Actually, focus on my shit in this head correct.
It was flanked by two enormous black-skinned men bearing a mysterious, ornate box. This was the nearest to Japan's capital that a foreign delegation had been permitted to land in over 200 years, and the most hostile foreign troops to set foot on Japanese soil since the last Mongols were thrown back into the sea 600 years before.
Holy how I like
Alien music, cattle
how she tends
the
to pop
barbarian
very
officers
colorful
barked
tune.
strange
Yeah.
orders like dogs, and the box
Very
and the letter it contained with the king of the enemy, a man they called their president, was handed over to Toda Fujiyoshi, finally the true governor of Uraga, representing His Highness, the Shogun. The Americans announced they would be back next April or May and weighed anchor. It was all over in half an hour, but they were 30 minutes that changed the world. Years before, the Japanese scholar Aizawa Seishisai had written, "Today the alien barbarians of the West, the lowly organs of the legs and feet of the world, are dashing about across the seas, trampling other countries underfoot, and daring, with their squinting eyes and limping feet, to override the noble nations. What manner of arrogance is this?" Now, the arrogant alien barbarians of the West had accosted Aizawa's own country. Would Japan be the last in a long line of noble nations to be trampled underfoot and overwhelmed? The US Navy Leviathans returned earlier than promised in February 1854, and this time they negotiated for 23 days before coming to terms. But the consequences were not just those scrawled on the fine Japanese paper. Japan as a nation had suffered a psychological humiliation, and the treaty proved to be the first of many increasingly insulting deals she would be strong-armed into signing over the next decade, finally prized open by the hungry grip of colonial powers. The US Navy
Let's fix that. Let's fix all that. Make that look more like the 181.
Wave, and then
There's no reason not to.
tsunami to shape the coming 20th
Let's do him
century.
in a different pose where he's much closer to Peter.
Gunboat diplomacy, the once
We'll do it just like that. But I think that's going to look really good. Because then people's eyes will get drawn to that and they'll be like, whoa, that's like a little piece in and of itself.
But why was
And then it'll
Japan
space out and
so
it'll be all these
isolated?
smaller
What had led
bits
to
to enjoy.
generations of long distrust of foreigners, its need to keep the world at
It
arm's
can be
length,
its own standalone thing.
while
It
the
doesn't
rest of
have
the
to
world
submit to the larger
backwards and slowly connecting across the years? What had kept Japan's gaze firmly inwards? This is that story, a story that reaches centuries back and continues to mold the world today. This is the story of Japan and the West. The Perry incident can trace its roots back more than 3 centuries, to a time when Japan was only vaguely aware of the world outside Gosankoku, the 3 civilized realms of Japan, the Chinese Ming Empire, and Tenjiku, the lands of Buddha's birth, the northern India of today. That Mongols, Arabs, and other barbarians existed was known, but they were generally of little concern. Aside, of course, from when they charged in to kill, pillage, and burn, as they had when Genghis Khan and his successors had destroyed China and Korea, and only the Shinpu, divine winds, had saved Japan from being overwhelmed by the Mongol war machine. Whether 16th century Europeans were among the known barbarians is unclear, but Christendom, as it was generally known at the time by its own inhabitants, was a realm obsessed with accessing the legendary riches of China and Japan, or as they knew it, Cathay. Marco Polo had described the land of Chipangu with semi-breathless amazement, as a place where the dead were buried with giant red pearls in their mouths, and the ruler's palace was roofed and floored in gold, 2 fingers thick. Generations of Western European adventurers had dribbled with greed. But there was a vast and seemingly insurmountable problem. They had no real idea how they could get there. The known overland and Red Sea routes through which Oriental products such as silk normally reached Europe were controlled by enemy Muslim empires, and, as far as they could ascertain, no other sea route existed. Columbus and others, knowing by now that the Earth was round, hypothesized that Chipangu must lie on the other side of the Great Ocean, and it would provide an ideal base from which to commence trade with the Great Khan in China. But when Columbus managed to cross that very ocean, his men found not Chipangu, but a whole new world that they had not even known existed. The Portuguese, meanwhile, were trying another way, inching slowly, ever further around the tip of Africa in their search of Oriental wealth. And Prester John, a mythical Christian king who they believed ruled an eastern kingdom, with whom to ally in their struggle against Islam. After 50 years of attempts, they achieved their goal, and Vasco da Gama's small fleet entered the Indian Ocean in 1498. In Africa and Asia, realms used to grander fare than the Portuguese possessed, ruler after ruler failed to be impressed with the poor quality and meagre quantity of the European gifts. So the Portuguese did what they did best, and resorted to to piracy. Portuguese fleets moved ruthlessly ever eastwards year by year, seizing bases and strongholds in Africa and Asia to provide their fleets with infrastructure and supplies. Rumours of their behaviour spread like wildfire. The Guangdong Tongji recorded that the Phalangi kidnapped numerous small children under 10 years old, roasting and eating them. The people of Guangdong were terrified. It took the Portuguese several decades to regain a modicum of trust, and only when they turned mercenary to destroy pirates on China's behalf were the tables turned. At some point, the Portuguese encountered their first Japanese people, probably equally cutthroat pirates raiding the coast of China, or perhaps traders in a Southeast Asian
Dang, there's gonna be a lot of people on this cover.
Finally,
Dang.
centuries of European speculation and salivation, Marco Polo's famed land of pearls and gold was nearly within their grasp. Some years ago, in the Tenban era, a big ship arrived at dawn at Nishinomura Bay. No one knew from what country it came. There were some 100 people on board, among whom there were those whose physical features differed from ours, and whose language was not understood. So relates the Teppo Ki, or the Record of the Musket, a 1606 history from the remote Tanegashima Island, just off the southern coast of Kyushu, recording the supposed first contact between the Far West and Japan. And that was what first connected these two vastly different cultures. Guns. But not in the way in which connections were being made 10,000 miles across the ocean by Spanish conquistadors and the indigenous people of the Americas. On board this Chinese junk were two, possibly three, strangely dressed, long-nosed men, whom the Chinese crew helpfully described as southwestern barbarians. Showing their feelings without any self-control, and not knowing the written script or the use of it. Such traders are in the habit of roving from place to place, bartering things which they have for things which they do not have. They are not very strange, and are withal quite harmless. They were, in fact, Francisco Zenotto and Sansei, their colleague Antonio Peixoto, the first recorded Europeans on Japanese soil. The traders would not have found the riches they were expecting on the long sandy beaches and gentle green hills of the low-lying island. They did, however, find a people who were exceedingly interested in the strange weapons they carried. The local Japanese lord, Tokitaka, was most impressed with this wondrous teppo, firearm, and snapped one up immediately. A swordsmith called Kiyosada was ordered to reproduce this machine, so he stripped the gun and reverse-engineered it. Everything worked perfectly, apart from the screw to seal the barrel. Legend has it that he offered one of the Portuguese merchants his daughter Wakasa in exchange for the secret of how to complete the firearm. The man, unfortunately, did not know, but returned the next year with a specialist who did. Japan's first ordnance industry was born, and in a remarkable twist of ballistic history, Tanegashima is now the site of Japan's.
So that's where I'll end this stream, and I'll just kind of show you where we're at here. I'll use my katana as my pointer now, because it's not really sharp. We can put it on. Not that I really touch it anyway. So, down here we'll have Black Suit Spider-Man versus Corrupted Venom, and it's going to look like similar to Spider-Man 316. I'm kind of changing Venom to be more front-on, so he's not taking up so much space, and he's looking at the camera. And then here we're going to have Anti-Venom, Toxin, Miles Morales, Gwenom, nullified Gwenom. All these people are nullified. Carnage version nullified. Sleeper, Scream,
North,
Captain
South,
America,
East, and West
Hybrid,
battled for survival and
Iron
domination.
Man,
Pirates such
Hulk,
as the Murakami clan
Thor,
mined the
Dragon,
seas,
Silver Surfer,
massive
Dragon, and then
carved out vast
Dark
monasterial
Carnage.
samurai.
It's
warlords
Dark
led
Carnage
armies
full.
against
Carnival? Dark Carnival. How did the Juggalos not jump on that, man? They must not be into it. They must not know. Alrighty. Have a good day. I'll be back on probably a little bit. Not too long. So. Peace.